So I wanted to take a minute and explain to you how grading is working for U.S. history this year. As we get into the year, we're starting to get questions about retakes and things like that, and this is going to explain to you why, as a team, our U.S. history classes do not really do retakes. Um, in as simple as possible and as color coded as possible, this way should make it easier for you to see what we're talking about when we say things like decaying average and the matrix and stuff like that. So, your grade is going to show up on Infinite Campus broken down by standard. So, each category on Infinite Campus that you see is going to be the standard. Now, we have simplified that in terms of how we are going to talk with you, but in Infinite Campus, you will see that standard. So everything's going to go by what it is that we're trying to teach in that particular unit. And the top two that I put here, these were in no particular order other than these top two are what we focus on in the first unit. As you get assignments, they will increase in value in terms of the importance. The newest assignment is always going to be more important than the previous assignment. So right now, at the very beginning of the year, you have one assignment in for one category. This grade is going to be the most important. However, as we go further, this grade is going to count more than this grade, and so on and so forth. So eventually, what you do down here is going to weigh more than what happens all the way back here. This one is essentially it's not necessarily going to lose value, but it's going to lessen its value for your grade. Each of these categories is going to be calculated this way. So each category, what you do in this dark blue column is more important than what you do in this light blue column. That grade will come up with and calculate based on this, with this being the most important and this being the least important, that will give us a score. Okay. And that score, as you see, is going to be a total for that particular category. And you can see some of these students in this made up um, lesson or made up student, increased or maybe went down and then went back up. So I mean, there is some room for growth and stuff like that when it comes to understanding these standards. Each of these is what we are going with when we talk about this matrix. The matrix is what we have over on the syllabus, and this is where you should understand that all standards are at a cumulative of a 3 or a 4 is an A. All standards are at a cumulative of a 2, 3, or a 4 with no more than 3 to 2 is a B, so on and so forth. So for this particular student, we have calculated horizontally in terms of the color. The blue has led to this 3, and then we've looked at each of these standards as a whole. And by looking at this, we come up with the grade, and this particular student has an A. So what you are focusing on as a student is you are looking at each of these standards and attempting to increase or demonstrate understanding of that standard over multiple assignments throughout the year. And then this ultimately comes when you show that performance. So there is really no need for makeup assignments because most of these assignments, every assignment that you do is essentially a makeup from the previous assignment. So it is your task as a student to focus on doing your best each time that you go out and do an assignment for us so that that can accurately reflect your understanding of that standard and ultimately lead to a grade that reflects your understanding of U.S. history.